Hey everyone, welcome to today's product demo webinar. My name is Amanda Brief. I'm our North American marketing director here at Clausematch, and I'm going to be introducing today's timeline. So in terms of the agenda, the product demo will be approximately 20 minutes long. However, if you have any questions throughout the webinar, you can put them in the Q&A box on your screen. And if you run into any audio issues or if you have any additional comments or questions, you can put them in the chat box as well. Now with that, I want to kick off and introduce my colleague, Jacob Adair, our account executive at Clausematch. So Jacob has been with us for, I think, a little less than a year, and he supports our sales within the EMEA region. In terms of his experience, he's worked with a variety of regulated organizations who are striving for things like traceability, centralization, automation, and oversight in order to lower risks by adopting a built-for-purpose compliance management solution. And in his free time, Jacob loves spending time with his friends and family, along with his two dachshunds, Olive and Margot. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to Jacob, who's going to lead today's demo.
Hey everyone, thanks so much, Amanda, for the introduction. So great to have everyone here. I know we've got everyone joining from a global scale, so welcome. So without further ado, I'm going to jump in and share my screen, and we'll jump into the product demo webinar today for Clausematch. So jumping into things. So first and foremost, just wanted to cover off a few things before we jump into running through the demo today. So Clausematch in its finest is a web-based and cloud-based solution with single sign-on. So meaning that when you are asked to collaborate on a document or review a document, you'll be sent an email notification. You click on the hyperlink and it takes you straight through to the Clausematch platform. There's no need to log in separately, or if you are logged in, you can select the bell icon and you'll be able to see where you've been asked to collaborate. Click on that and come straight through. So with Clausematch today, we're going to be covering off two of the Clausematch modules. So the first one that we're going to look at is the policy management module. So this is where essentially those that are involved with the document review cycle, or either be document owners, people that are asked to collaborate on documents, approve documents, will be able to work and reside. And then what we'll do is we'll then transition across to the policy portal. And this is where documents will then reside once they've gone through that review cycle and they're ready to be published out to the wider business. So also today, what we're going to do is the webinar today is going to take a slightly different focus. The reason being is traditionally, a lot of our clients are using traditional tools before moving to Clausematch. So using tools like Word, Excel, SharePoint, Google Drive, and even say Notion in some instances. So what we wanted to do today is highlight why our particular partners transition from using those traditional tools to an award-winning built-for-purpose system such as Clausematch. So throughout the webinar today, we're going to focus on those key factors that spike their interest and their requirements to make that transition. And please feel free to ask any questions as we go along. So jumping into things. So firstly, we're going to be looking at the policy management module. So as a reminder, this is where documents reside, and policy owners and those people that want to collaborate on documents will be able to do so. So firstly, you've got two options when actually creating a document through Clausematch. You can create a document from scratch, or you can upload a document using a docx file. So with this, any document you either create from scratch or upload through a docx file, it's then embedded behind a template. And we'll touch on templates in just a moment. So firstly, the thing I wanted to cover off is that when I'm speaking to clients, a lot of the time what they're wanting and sort of a key challenge that they mention, especially when using those traditional tools, is when they end up having sort of multiple versions of the same document. So essentially, they're saving the same version of the same document multiple times because it needs to be stored in various different locations, whether it be on email, SharePoint, an internal drive, whatever that might be. What Clausematch offers is a single source of truth. Not only does the whole policy management lifecycle take place within Clausematch, but then also when it comes to categorizing and organizing your documents, it allows you to do that in a very functional and is a functional and and able to theme that in a very great way, powerful way, and also be able to set up a particular hierarchy attached to that. So, as an example, if I was to go into my risk taxonomy, and I was to go into my financial crime and risk folder and my anti-bribery and corruption, you'll find my global fraud policy. So within Clausematch, what this enables you to do is be able to have one document residing in multiple locations. So what does that mean? That means that people won't have the ability to access the wrong version. Also, it gives the people the ability to, when you are asked to update a version of the document, there's no duplication of effort, and you're not doing that a multiple of different times. So that's how we categorize and theme the documents within Clausematch. So moving across, I'll just clear my filter there so you can see all of the documents. And these documents would be documents that I've asked, either I'm the owner of, or I've been asked to collaborate on. Secondly, our clients are always wanting a more streamlined and accessible way of being able to find documents. And that's where our advanced search capabilities come in. So if I was to type in AML as an example, I'm then able to then get more granular with that advanced search. So it gives me the ability to search by what stage this is at within the review cycle. It could be in first review, second draft, whatever that might be. But then it also gives you the ability to filter by any of that that metadata that you've embedded behind documents as well. So if I was to type in, say, jurisdiction, I can then filter this search by any documents within, say, the jurisdiction of the UK. And you can filter by as many sort of metadata fields as you've embedded behind documents within the platform as well. So jumping out of the advanced search capabilities of the platform, I'll minimize that now. Another aspect that we get a lot from clients is they're wanting to enforce and standardize the look, feel, and structure of documents. And reason being is that they find themselves, a lot of, it might not just be even sort of different departments within an organization doing things differently. Some people might draft documents within Google Docs or an email workflow or, Word, whatever that might be. But what Clausematch allows you to do through the use of templates is enforce the look, feel, and structure of documents. So you can ensure that everyone's doing everything the same way and all documents are created in the same way. Enables you to embed metadata behind documents too. So when it comes to finding, searching, and reporting on information, it's really easy. And then also you can embed fully configurable workflows behind documents as well. So how does that look? So let me jump into the global sanctions policy to show you. So this is a document that has been created off the back of a template. So you can see here, this has picked up our Clausematch colorway and logo. With yourselves, if you were to use Clausematch, this would have a variety of different templates that you would have created in the platform using your own logo and colorway. How do I know this is embedded behind a template? If I go to the document settings, look at the template, and the group policy template is governing this global sanctions policy. So if I go across to that template, you can see how the global sanctions policy has adopted the same look and feel, the same structure. The template has actually had certain aspects locked. They can't be edited and changed. But then also you can actually ensure that particular metadata is captured on any documents that are created off the back of this as well. So let me show you how that works. So if I go back to the global sanctions policy, I can then go across to stages. So this is looking at the fully automated and configurable workflow stages that are embedded behind documents. So as soon as a document comes up to its review cycle, it will then go to the first stage of that workflow. So in this case, that's the drafting stage, and it will work through review, pre-committee approvals, and so on and so on. These workflow stages are configurable. Some organizations may just want draft, review, approve. Whatever you might need, it can be configured on that basis. The beauty of this is, and just to give you an example, if you go to the validation stage, is that for each stage you can set a deadline. So not only the policy owners working to that deadline, the assigned stage approvers that are assigned to that stage will also be notified of that deadline too, of when they need to approve. When you're assigning stage approvers, you'll see you can mandate that a certain number of people that would need to approve that document when it gets to a particular stage. But you can add people onto each stage as well. So that could be a particular user, it could be a group of individuals. But the beauty of it is as soon as it hits that stage, those individuals are automatically notified. You're not having to do that yourself. Moving across is the ability to embed metadata behind documents. So what does that do? It enables you to find documents and locate documents far easier, but then also when it comes to reporting on information, it makes it far easier as well. So you've got really important information, document owner, jurisdiction, language, whatever that might be, but you've also got and able to set up, say, the next review date. So as soon as this next review date comes around, the document owner will automatically be notified and that review cycle and that workflow cycle will begin. So there's no need for you as an administrator to be chasing document owners up for their next review date. You know that the platform is going to take care of that. And not only that, it gives you the ability to, when we get onto the reporting aspect, to see when those review dates are coming up. Clausematch, just to cover off briefly, won't go into it in too much detail, but it's a permission-based platform. So it gives you the ability to promote and demote people throughout the life cycle and workflow of a document. So you can have owners, editors, reviewers, read released as well. So moving back to the global sanctions policy. So with Clausematch, to cover off, it's not just your typical Word document. Any document within Clausematch is a visualization of a database, because remember, it's embedded behind a template. So it's enforcing that structure, look and feel, the metadata, and also the configurable workflows. But it goes one step further. So if I was to look at, on the right-hand side, I've got the activity bar. So this gives me the ability to look at the document activity, but then also the paragraph activity as well. So if I was to select this particular paragraph, it gives me the ability to make a change directly within the platform, as Clausematch is a full Word proprietary system. So if I was to add change in here, that's automatically captured on the right-hand side. Also, if I was wanting to collaborate with a colleague, so my colleague Claudia, please can you take a look at this? Claudia will then be sent a notification prompting her to go into the platform. She'll receive a link to an email, and then she can reply to me or mark this as resolved, or actually collaborate with me in real time. And any changes that I make or Claudia makes or anyone that's collaborating in this document, they're automatically captured. So a lot of our clients at the moment, before moving to Clausematch, are tracking these changes on an Excel spreadsheet or whatever that might be. So it rules out that requirement to do so. You can also filter by the users as well. So you can pick up, what changes a particular user made over time too. So also, as we delve a bit deeper into the versioning, you've also got complete version history too within the platform. So this gives you the ability to look at all changes over time. So really useful if you've got a new document owner. You can allocate a new document owner. They can see what changes have happened over the course of time. And also just for an existing document owner, they can get very granular with what changes have been made too. Also, all previous versions of documents are stored within the Clausematch platform, but it goes one further. How do I compare and contrast documents? Not only the most up-to-date version, but previous versions as well. Clausematch allows you to do that. So at the moment, I'm able to compare. I've selected the most recent version, version 2.0, and I'm comparing that with version 1.1. Then it gives you the ability to then go through that document and then see all of those changes that have happened over time. One of the next aspects I want to cover off is we have clients ask us and have the request, so how do I create relationships between internal governance documents? And also one step further, how do I map policies out to, particular, regulations to evidence that I meet that? So the way that we do that within Clausematch is the ability to create what we call mappings and connections between documents. So if I go to the right-hand side, I click on the connections icon, I can go through and actually see all of the documents that this global sanctions policy has had connections made with. So you can create connections between documents on a document to document basis, document to paragraph basis, or even a paragraph to paragraph basis. But just to give you an example, if I was to choose this particular regulation, So I've got our money laundering regulation on the left-hand side, and then I've got our global sanctions policy on the right-hand side. So here you're able to see those connections that have been made between the two documents. But then also you're able to overlay tags against any connections that you've made as well. So it enables you to create, you can action those accordingly, and you can even filter by those tags as well. So between these two documents, if I wanted to see all of those tags that I've made where I've noted that I'm non-compliant, I can filter those through and action those accordingly. Taggings can be configured. They don't have to be non-compliant, compliant. Some clients want to have partially compliant, so they can be sort of edited and updated as you wish. So that's all good. That's very granular as we're looking at those connections that are made between documents. How do we look at sort of a bird's eye view of all those connections that have been made and how they cascade across the business? So the way we do that is we jump back to the policy management dashboard and we jump into the compliance dashboard. So what this enables us to do is to essentially have a visualization of all of those data connections and mappings that you've created across the business. And you're able to overlay those with a filter to see what type of content it is. And in this instance, I've set this up to show a particular regulation, to a policy, to a procedure. To keep track of where we were, let me just go down and find that money laundering regulation. We're then able to see what policies this particular document is mapped to. I mean, we know from how we looked at it earlier, it's mapped to a global sanctions policy, and we can actually see what paragraphs within that document it's been mapped to. And if we were to click the anti-money laundering policy that it's also mapped to, we can also see how that's then further mapped to a particular procedure as well. So this obviously enables people to evidence which policies they have in place to meet a particular regulation. But then that also enables to manage this as a gap analysis tool too. So the last aspect that I want to cover off on the policy management module is the ability for reporting and real-time reporting as well. So it's instant too. So it saves you having to create these reports on a manual basis. So just to give you one example, so we could have a look at all documents where the review date is approaching its review date. So we could have a look at those documents that are approaching their next review date within the next 60 days. We're able to filter this by all of the metadata that you've embedded behind documents too. So obviously very useful to have an oversight of where documents are within the review lifecycle. And then also to ensure that, certain policy owners are actioning those as they should do. So just to give you an example, we could look at documents by location and jurisdiction and look at that on a chart view. So we could see all documents within the EU that are coming up to be their review date within the next 60 days within the EU or France, whatever that might be. You can also do that, like I said, by the document owner too. So conscious of time, so what I'm now going to do is transition across to the policy portal. And again, just to mention, this is where documents have gone through that review cycle. They'll transition across to the policy portal where you can then share them with the wider team and wider company. So to do that, just click across the policy portal. And as a reminder, just to mention that with all of the Clausematch platform, it can be white labeled, so it can be your own colorway and colorway, your own logo and everything like that within the platform too. So as we've gone into the policy portal, the main aspect of the policy portal is to drive engagement and awareness, not only with new policies, but policy updates too. So instead of sort of allocating that time to just one aspect of the year, it enables you to publish a document very easily and effectively, but then also set up an attestation to capture that people have read and understood an update as well, and evidence that too. So searching for documents is very easy, exactly the same search facilities as we had in the policy management module. And you can also search by all of that good metadata that you've embedded behind documents too. So how do you publish a document? So with this, bear in mind, I'm looking at this from an admin perspective. So I'm not only able just to see all documents with the platform, but I'm able to manage documents. So be able to see those that are ready to publish, those that have been published, and those that have actually got attestations that have been set up against them. So if I go ready to publish, if I go on to this particular document, so a global sanctions policy, So this is ready to be published. So it gives me the ability just to review it one more time. If I want to publish it, I can do. Hit publish, and I can then publish this to a particular user. I can actually set up groups of individuals, or I can actually publish this typically to everyone within the business, so everyone on the portal. Not only that, I can actually set this up so people can just read the document, or they've got the ability to answer. The ability to answer then pulls into our Q&A functionality within the platform. So if you are to publish a new document, it gives people the ability to ask a question about the document, or they can actually ask a question about a particular paragraph. And this gives the ability for the document owner to then answer that question, which essentially drives better policy writing in the future too. Creating an attestation, very easy and simple. So on the right-hand side, click attestations, you can add a deadline. So let's set this up for into the new year, the 11th of January. And then I can even add people in. So if I want to add my colleague Ted, I can add him in and add an attestation for him to complete. Ted will receive a notification prompting him to complete that particular attestation that I've sent, and he'll be receiving notifications all the way up to the 11th of January to complete that. So what does Ted receive? What does it look like? So pending attestations, I can show you one based upon what I've got and what I need to review. So if I go on this one in particular, I'll be able to look through the document, and then what I would be doing is clicking that I read and understood it, and then I'll be able to confirm. So that attestation notification, you can either access that by logging into the policy portal as a user, or you'd receive an automated notification through email that will take you straight through to that document. And then once you've confirmed and read and understood it, that will all be captured. For oversight perspective, you've also got the ability to look at all the activity within the document too, which is all exportable. Then also, I did want to just show you within here. So if I go global sanctions, you've also got the ability to compare and contrast other versions of documents too. So if you were asked to attest to a particular document, you can compare documents with previous versions as well, so you can see what's changed over time. So the last aspect just to cover off with the policy portal is as we look at the reporting capabilities. So if you wanted to have oversight of the attestations that you sent out, make sure that particular teams or individuals are up to date with particular attestations that have been set out, you can do. So if we wanted to do that we could do that by policies or by users. So we could do that by everything that's residing in our financial crime and risk. So all policies within there. We can see which individuals have missed a particular attestation, which ones have completed, and which ones have completed late. And you've also got the ability to do that report by users. So if I wanted to see which attestations my colleague Ted has missed and which ones I'm waiting for him to complete, I can do that too. So that's me wrapping up the Clausematch demo webinar today, and happy to pass back over to Amanda for any questions that you might have.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Jacob. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A box now. And also, if you are interested in booking a demo with us, I'm going to include a link in the chat box right now. So feel free to just fill that out, and then we will sign you up with an individual account executive from our team. So with that, let me look at today's questions. Okay, so one of the questions that came through is, how does pricing work within Clausematch?
Perfect. So pricing within Clausematch is on a user basis. So we have different levels of users. So we have what we call power users. So they would be individuals that have admin access and they'll be actually creating documents through the platform. And then we have sort of light users within regards to policy management module. Those would be individuals that are asked to interact. So there'll be approvers, reviewers of documents too. And then we look at the policy portal. Those would be individuals, normally tends to be the total headcount of the organisation portal users. So those would be people that you'd be wanting to share policy updates with and wanting to get attestations to confirm they've read and understood documents too. But happy to discuss that on a one-on-one level. Great question, Amanda. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. Another question that came through is, what type of documents can you upload in Clausematch? Is it only Word documents?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can upload any document that's within a docx file, and also within Clausematch. You know, any of our clients have the ability to have a docx converter access as well, so it enables them to upload those documents in a streamlined manner. Just to cover it off as well, when working with clients, when implementing Clausematch, we run a training. We obviously run a lot of training to get them on board, and that involves them showing them how to upload documents onto the Clausematch platform, and we do a portion of that upload for them as well to help with that heavy lifting.
Cool. And then it looks like our last question for today is, does Clausematch provide regulations?
So Clausematch is a content management platform. So we don't provide you with the regulations, but we provide you a platform to be able to house them, say, in your regulatory library. We do have some very exciting partnerships with companies such as Ascent, who are able to provide that regulatory piece, enabling you to then have your regulatory library linked up with Ascent, who will be able to provide you those updates, and then you're able to then create those connections downstream across to your policies, procedures, and other governance related documents too.
Cool. Thank you. All right. Looks like that is it for the questions. So if any other questions come up, you can email us at evolve@clausematch.com. And like I mentioned before, if you are interested in booking a demo with us, you can use that link in your chat box. So I wanted to, before I wrap up, just thank you, Jacob, for walking us through the demo, and everyone for joining today's call. Thank you so much. We will send a follow-up email tomorrow with a link to the recording. Have a good rest of your day, everyone.
Have a great one,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.